All right, we made it. Thank you, Tom, for being super nice and cool and letting me cancel on the absolute last second when we originally had this scheduled.
Oh, no
But
problem.
we got it back together.
We did.
We are here, and as people kind of trickle into, you know what I'm noticing? I always wind up accidentally scheduling these when Chris, Bearded Book Beast, also has one, so
Oh, yeah.
everyone's watching his stream.
Oh, does he have one today? I know he does a lot
Yeah.
he does a lot, so.
Andrew's here. Andrew likes us better than Chris. That's what I'm
What's up,
learning right
Andrew?
now because he's here in this one. Yeah, he's talking. You feel like he's talking to a different author like every night.
Yeah, he gets the authors lined up.
He does,
for
man.
Sure.
Mr. Roro is here. What's up?
What's
So yeah, so the one and only Tom Orange. Thank you. First of all, I should say that. Thank you for taking the time. Everybody is busy, especially it seems like these days everyone's especially busy. But
Yeah.
we made it happen. So
We did.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it. I know we've been in a couple, things together here and there, so it's nice to get one of these with just the two of us. So.
Right, for sure. So the first thing I got to bring up is we might have the same Pikachu plushie.
That one's that's a piggy bank.
Oh, okay. I'm wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Mine, he's up there. You can't really see him right now, but Slay is here. What's up, man? How we doing? It looks the exact same. It's just like it was a 25th anniversary plushie that I got.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, that one's a piggy bank, and then I have some Charmanders on both sides that are really buff.
Really buff? I love it.
They're like they're like bodybuilders.
Oh, I love that.
I have a buddy every year for Christmas. He tries to get me like a buff Pokemon.
Oh, cool.
So I've got a couple Charizard. Like you can kind of see he's incline bench pressing. That's what's going on.
Oh yeah, okay. Now that you say that, I can. It's so small on my screen, but yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Sam? Thank you for being here. Tier Tech, if I somewhat pronounce that correctly. Thank you for being here as well. Yeah, I remember even being really little, seeing, because I've been collecting the cards forever, right?
Okay.
And I mean, I haven't collected them in quite some time, but I still have them all. They're back there. Sometime I get the itch again. But I remember seeing even like I'll see Machamp or whatever. I'm just like, oh yeah, like early influence.
Machamp is definitely one. So funny enough, we're going to talk about Pokemon. I still have some of the original Pokemon I played through like Ruby the first time. So like to this day, I still have them. I've transferred them all the way through, which is kind of crazy to think that I have like Pokemon that are, when did Ruby come out? Like 2007 or something.
Geez.
So
yeah,
like
something like that.
Getting close to like 15 years old or 20 years old. Wow, yeah, I'm old.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool. I never had a Game Boy or any of those. So like I never played any of those until when Sun and Moon was coming out.
Okay.
I went out and I got a 2DS and got Alpha Sapphire because I was told that was a really good one. So I played through that and that was super fun. Tried Moon and I just wasn't super into like that. I don't know. Didn't really do it for me.
I do not like those games. The Sun and Moon games in particular.
So I picked the wrong ones to
you definitely picked the wrong ones for sure. Yeah.
Sweet. That's how it goes. I will say I am excited though that later this month, I think 27th or something, they're putting out a full collection of like a bunch of the old Yu-Gi-Oh games that were on Game Boy.
Oh, okay, nice. I played some of those.
I'm so stoked.
Yeah, I haven't. That's something I haven't touched in a long time. I actually have a pretty good friend who like he plays. I guess there's some game on Steam that is some kind of Yu-Gi-Oh game that's still pretty popular. And
there's a couple. Master Duel is like the newer big one, and Duel Links I think is still a thing. But
yeah, I'm not sure which one he plays, but he's all about it. He's always trying to get me to play.
Pokemon Stadium was awesome, man.
Yep.
That was an awesome one. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is fun, dude. It's not as fun these days to me because it's so I don't know. It's so fast paced. It's kind of like, if anyone's familiar with Magic, it's like anything where you're trying to just get endless combos and loops to win in one turn or whatever. It's like, I just don't like it. I like the slower, methodical chess game, like that kind of thing. So the old school games, I'm excited to play those before we get into all this crazy nonsense.
Yeah, that's when I've watched, he'll stream in Discord for me sometimes while we're like hanging out and he'll be playing. And he's like, yeah, if you get like 2 turns, somebody did something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
so
okay,
dumb.
if you say so.
I shouldn't say that. My personal taste takes the fun out of it. Andrew, when are we doing a Commander live stream? That'd be fun. We should get 4 people. I think Chaz plays Magic, so he might be able to jump in. We need a 4th. That'd be fun. So I feel like the elephant in the room. Everyone expects us to talk about lifting, right?
Oh, I guess, yeah, probably at some point, right?
So I gotta ask, have you always just done strongman, or have you dabbled in other things? And is that just
Yeah,
that's
I've
your thing?
dabbled in pretty much everything at this point.
Cool.
I've competed in powerlifting, but I was like 17 when I did my first and only powerlifting competition.
Mm-hmm.
I never did a bodybuilding competition, but I trained like a bodybuilder and like ate like a bodybuilder and did all that for
Cool.
a long, long time. And I've actually only been doing strongman for about a year. This month is a
Oh
year.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the strongman part has been much newer to me. I've been aware of it for a really long time. Like I've always, been interested in strength sports and everything. So like I have known about it, but I just
Yeah.
finally was like, let's do it. Let's try. And I got into it, and it's been my favorite of all
Cool.
of the ones I have done. So that is really nice. I'm actually in prep right now for a competition. So
Amazing. That's awesome, man.
yeah,
Getting
yeah,
ready for a strongman comp is crazy. Like it's so like like bodybuilding is so simple, right? It's not easy, but it's very simple. Powerlifting is a little bit less simple, but it's still pretty simple. You know exactly what lifts you're doing. You
you
know
know the
exactly what's going on.
commands. You know the commands.
Yeah.
You probably know your what your jumps are going to be like a couple
Yeah,
weeks out. Like
for sure.
yeah,
It is what it is. Strongman, it's like, well, what the events change every time, right?
yes,
And like there's just so much more, there's the time-based stuff, there's the strength-based stuff, there's
yep,
speed is a component sometimes, but not always. Like
yep,
sometimes it's reps, sometimes it's just, how heavy can you get? It's like there's just so much. I've had it's like I my job is essentially personal training, right? So
right.
I've had two different people now that I've like coached them through a strongman prep.
Okay, nice.
That's like I know enough about physiology and programming and whatever that like I can
Sure.
fake my way through it and do a pretty good job. But
Yeah,
the first one I was like, all right, bro, like don't bear
we're
with
gonna
me.
figure this out.
Yeah, I
Okay.
learned a lot that first time.
Yeah.
But it's there's a lot going on in there, but it's super interesting and super. Is it still on TV? I remember they used to put the
Yeah,
World
so they
Strongest Man on
still
there.
do World Strongest Man is still they still do it as a TV show and that air so it's funny. They it happens, they record it and they air it, after it's already done. So like for the real hardcore fans, we
You already
have been
know.
paying attention to what has happened way ahead of time like, but there's no live stream. So like a lot of the so we
Interesting.
are uh,
Why?
so it's TV contract stuff. Is why World's
Mm,
Strongest Man in particular does not have a live stream. Specifically, a lot of it has to do with the UK. So like Strongman in the UK is probably like the biggest out of anywhere. And it's like a Christmas tradition in the UK where they air World's Strongest Man that happens in like July, June, somewhere. It depends, on
okay.
the time changes sometimes. But
Mhm.
they air it at Christmas. So like
Interesting.
6 to 8 months later, they air it in
Okay.
in the UK,
Cool.
which is funny because the current person who won last year is from Scotland. So he's like a UK guy,
Oh, fun.
and they don't even air it until Christmas. Yeah, and so what? We're like 4-ish weeks out from the Arnold.
Something like wow,
Yeah,
geez, yeah,
yeah,
something like
right.
that.
Which is crazy. So obviously the Arnold will have bodybuilding, powerlifting, but it
Yeah,
also has
Arnold's
the
cool.
strong. Yeah, it has the strongman classic, which is to most people probably like the second most prestigious show.
Mhm.
There's some conversation on like how people would rank it, but
Yeah,
like that one will have a free live stream. So
nice.
like I'll
Yeah,
watch it as it happens and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the landscape's changed a little bit in powerlifting, but for so long that was basically the world champion. Like the U.S. dominates worlds most of the time.
Yeah.
So like between that and USAPL Raw Nationals, like for so long, those were the two meets, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then you go to do worlds because it's an honor to represent your country. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but
It has
it's
changed
like
a little bit,
it's
but
changed. Yeah, there's a lot.
yeah,
Powerlifting.
I feel like I have a lot of problems with not like actually powerlifting, but like the sport itself, because it's like anytime something happens in a federation that people don't like, they just go and make a new federation.
Yeah.
So it's like, who just banned the Kabuki deadlift bar? I can't remember which
Oh, I don't
federation, but
know.
they just banned the deadlift bar. Well, somebody's just going to go create a new fed where they can still use the Kabuki deadlift bar, even though that
Yeah.
company it technically exists, but it's all different ownership and stuff now. So it's like, it's not even really the same
Yeah.
anymore.
It's dumb.
Yeah. And so
It's pretty
But
dumb.
that's my problem with powerlifting. And um, I think it's too strict for its own good, which like I understand that's like the
Can
point
be.
of powerlifting. But like that is something that like as somebody who listens stuff like that appeals to me of the strongman. Like, did you get it up? Did you do it? Like, let's,
Yeah.
there are obviously things that I kind of disagree with in strongman that still happen. Like, I think deadlift suits have gotten a little out of hand and some stuff, but for the most part, it's like, did you do it or not? Like
Hmm.
that's more of the standard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Really quick, I'm gonna say hey to Chance. What's up,
What's up,
man?
man?
Andrew's asking how we would train to wield the Dragon Slayer, which is a great question. I have seen this.
Have you seen the guy? I was
I've
gonna
seen this.
say,
It's
you've seen the
cool.
guy? Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, what he's doing is probably not the worst idea in the world. You could probably add in some other, like lower weight core rotation stuff or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, at
But
the end of the day, if you want to get good at something, you kind of got to do it,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta swing something around and get used to it.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I was just at the Ren Fair over the weekend,
Oh, nice.
and every time I go, I'm on the lookout for like, are they going to have Guts' sword?
Yeah.
And they never do. It would take
Yeah.
up too much space in the booth or
Oh,
whatever, right? But
yeah. But it would be cool, right? Yeah.
it'd be cool.
Yeah.
They had a what's it, Gandalf sword, Glamdring. They had
Oh,
that, and
nice.
I was like,
It's tempting.
I got a spot, on my wall, but it was like $400. So
Oh, yeah.
not
Yeah.
today. It looked great because I don't want something that looks cheap, right? Like I want it to look, and have some weight to it and all that.
Right.
You got to pay for that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, right?
Lame.
Yeah. This I'll see like cool, like nerdy kind of stuff, and anything that's like worth it. It's like, do I really want to spend $300 on like something that's gonna like sit on a shelf?
Yeah.
It's like, not really.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Me with my broken binding books and all this.
God, I'm jealous though. They're so nice, and I do have like some nice editions of books, but sometimes it's hard, especially because I don't even read physical books 90% of the time. So it's like,
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
like I have them and I do love them because they are so nice. Like I have 2 Folio Society books.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's like, they're so nice, but
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad buying them because it's like
I
they're just
get
gonna
it.
like they are just like an art piece or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's how I had try to look at it. And
Yeah.
like I will read out of it. Some people don't even read them. They literally just let them
Yeah.
sit there, which is cool. But like for me, if I'm going to spend that, I want to at least read it,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well, I know. I think some of like the dragon steel leather bound stuff, they like almost tell you not to, because I think some of the gold embossing and
I've
stuff that
heard
they do
that.
comes off and stuff
Yeah.
pretty easy. So they basically are like, I think even when they send it to you, they're like, if you read out of this, expect these things to happen. Which like I'm sure some people don't care, but
Yeah. That's like, I did order that, right? Just because I broke down finally last year and got the Kickstarter one.
yeah,
But like I did a lot of reading before I spent the money on it, and it sounds like essentially as long as you don't let your oily fingers rub on the gold much,
okay.
you're generally fine.
Oh, okay,
So I'm like, oh, that's easy. Put a pillow on my lap, open the book on the pillow, and read. Like,
sure,
easy.
yeah.
Anyway, what's a manga you wish got more attention? You are a much bigger manga reader than me, so I'm interested in this as well.
Yu Yu Hakusho is the first one that comes
yeah.
to mind because it's definitely like to me it's a little bit forgotten, especially because
It is.
there's a lot of like popular things that came out like around that a lot of us were probably exposed to at the same time. So I feel like it's the one that kind of gets pushed down a little
Yeah.
bit. But like to me, it has the best tournament arc in all of manga.
Yes.
Like there's not like
100%.
there's not a better tournament arc. And so that's probably one. If I'm gonna think of something a little bit more current, I mean, I'm only like 10 chapters in, and I think it's pretty popular, but Frenin has been like
I've heard amazing things.
Dude,
yeah, I gotta check it out.
Like I said, I think it's decently popular, so that's maybe not the best answer to that question, but like those are the 2 that come to mind right away.
Yeah. I've only seen the anime. I've seen the anime like 3 times, I think.
I mean, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's oh, dude, it's so, and the theme song is such a banger. I absolutely love it so much.
Oh yeah, yeah,
one of the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember I watched it as a kid, and then I watched it again in college. Or I was probably in college when I watched it again, and I was like, it was kind of one of those, is it going to hold up? Because I wasn't sure. When you go back and watch something like that, I was like, is it still going to be as good?
Yeah,
and it absolutely was.
Uh-huh.
That tournament arc, I mean,
oh man,
it's so good.
It's kind of a shame that it peaks there. I think the
Oh,
season
absolutely.
after that is still really solid. Like I still really enjoyed the next one. The last season wasn't a huge fan of, but
Yeah. It tries to do like the same kind of thing again, and it's like you already hit that high, and
mhm.
it kind of is the same note again because
Yeah.
they go to like the demon world or whatever and have another tournament, and it's like, I mean, I'm down, but
Yeah.
we kind of like did this the best it could be done already.
Andrew, I feel seen.
Let me guess your era of Gundam is
I
Gundam.
think this was my first exposure to Gundam.
Um, I don't know what my first one is. I think it's the one where there's like just a giant tournament where they fight, right? Is that Gundam Wing or is that
G Gundam, I think. G
oh,
Gundam's
G
like the
Gundam Wing?
shonen. That's the
Yeah, yeah.
shonen Gundam.
That's the one that sticks with me.
Shining finger.
Yeah, 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 that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But I haven't actually watched, which is funny. I love like mech robots and stuff. Like my favorite movie is Pacific Rim,
Oh, cool. Okay.
and but I haven't like watched any of the Gundam stuff, and I don't know how long.
Dude, you
I
gotta
know,
Gundam's
I
so
know.
good, man.
Yeah,
I'm slowly working my way. Like I watched a good handful of them over the years or whatever,
yeah.
and I'm slowly working my way through like the actual timeline and like rewatching or
Ooh,
slash
nice.
watching them for the first time.
Okay,
And oh man, even like there's this super random one. I think it was like 11 episodes long or something. It's what is it? MS 0083 or something like that. I've never heard of it before until Crunchyroll put out like a video essay going through all the different series.
okay.
So I was like, okay, I'll check that one out.
Yeah,
It's probably my favorite Gundam I've ever seen. It was unbelievable, but no one's ever heard of it.
that's that's awesome though.
It
Yeah,
was cool.
yeah. I should watch it because like the mechs and stuff. I always they're so cool, and I think the fights that end up happening with them are super cool.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something I should. But the reason I actually started reading so much manga is because the time for me to watch stuff I feel like has just gone away. Like I watched a lot of anime in college because I felt like I had the time for it,
Hmm.
and now it's like, when am I going to fit this in with a lot of the other stuff? Especially like reading's my number one, so like I'm always making time for that,
Right.
and so it's like, especially with being an audio person, like even when I'm on like the treadmill or something, it's like I could listen to my book or I could watch
Sure.
something, and I always default to the book for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was always so like I was for a long time, just reading was my primary thing, but whenever I was doing some cardio or whatever, that's when I did anime. And then I started to be like, oh, well, I could do an ebook or whatever, right? So then I would go back and forth, and that kind
I
of
don't
slowly
know.
shifted.
I don't know
And
how you read on the treadmill, man, or Stairmaster, whatever your choice
yeah, you
is.
just can't go too fast.
Okay,
Go too fast.
I guess that makes sense. I just don't think I could do it. I feel like I'd be all over because
That's what I thought too.
yeah, because the reason I actually got into audiobooks was when I started working after college. I wanted to read on my lunch break, but I also, because I sit all day for my job, wanted to walk at my lunch during
Yeah.
lunch. And so I can remember walking in circles around our parking deck because it's shaded,
Mhm.
and trying to read at the same time as I'm walking through the
Oh,
parking
no.
deck and just being like, this is not working.
Yeah.
I'd get like a quarter of the distance I wanted to go and read like a quarter of what I was trying to get done during my lunch break. And I was like, I have got to figure something else out. And
Uh-huh.
that's how I actually got into audiobooks.
Nice. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. I tried the audiobook thing again a few months ago, and I don't know, I'm just struggling, man.
Yeah.
It just my brain just wanders too much. But like I can listen to a booktube video, and that's
Mhm.
fine. But for whatever reason,
Yeah. I kind of like trained myself because I listened to so many podcasts before I got into audiobooks. I've always been like a big podcast person.
mhm,
And I think that like helped me pay attention and then kind of like trained me to like not let my mind wander, which I mean, it happens sometimes. Like even
sure.
when I like, I'm sure, like sometimes even when you're reading physically,
Yeah,
you'll like be like, wait, I just read 3 pages and I have no idea what just happened. Like obviously the same thing happens with the audiobooks and stuff, but I mean, I don't think it's that different than
yeah.
like physically reading.
That's fair. That's actually funny you bring that up. That actually happened to me this morning.
Oh yeah.
I've been I started the God Is Not Willing, the sequel
Mm,
to the Malazan series,
okay.
and which is like one you really got to be locked into, right?
Yeah. Oh
And
yes.
I had that exact thing where I was reading and then I was just like, wait, how did we get here? Which isn't uncommon in Malazan anyway, but
Yeah.
I had to back up and reread some stuff, and lo and behold, it made sense.
Yeah. And then I'm also really bad when I do physically read. So like I'm reading Fugitive Prince physically right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
And I always read physically while I'm in bed. So like I'm like falling asleep trying to read. And there
yeah.
are some days I wake up and I'll be like, I'll like be trying to go back to find where I was. And I'm like, I clicked through like 7 or 8 pages that I thought I read, but like I was just like basically asleep while just kind of clicking through. So
That's really
that'll
funny.
happen to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Which what book in the series is that? Is that
That's 4.
7? Oh, it's
That's
4.
4. 4. Yeah.
Yeah, that is 4.
Yep.
Trader's Knot is what I was thinking of. I
Oh
still
yeah.
am getting the title straight on
I don't even know them all. I know the
yeah, I don't
first
either.
4-ish.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
the first 3 because I'm
Yeah.
jumping into book 2 relatively soon, the next few
Oh,
weeks, I
okay.
think.
Okay, nice.
Um,
Yeah, you guys are gonna pass me for sure on that read along because
yeah,
it
that's
takes
okay.
me so long to read them.
They're slow burns for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah,
But
they're
you should
slow
definitely take
burns
your
on
time with
top
them.
of me falling asleep reading them.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know how you would read that. If I'm reading before bed, it's got to be like Skyward or something. That's what I've been doing lately. Like it's
Yeah.
just easy. I don't have to really think hard. It's, you barely have to pay attention. It's just, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think I just kind of like lock in for as long as I can. And then eventually I'm like, yeah, well, it's happening. I missed some stuff and I go back like 2 pages and know that I'll reread a page or two to kind of get back into the
Yeah.
flow of it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Some genres being easier to lock into than some fantasy stuff.
oh yeah.
Hello, Brian. How are you,
Hey
sir?
Brian, how you doing, man?
Um, so what are we reading right now? I'm a little bit behind on video, so forgive me if I've missed your last
No, so
couple
I
updates.
started so Fugitive Prince, that's been going on for a little bit, but I
Mhm,
started
mhm.
Fourth Wing yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I want to
Yeah.
hear about this. How
Yeah.
far are you?
I think I'm like 2 or 3 chapters in. Am I on chapter 3 yet? Somewhere, not very far here. I can
Okay.
check.
Is it
I
changing your
am
life?
I don't know if I'd say it's changed my life. Yeah, I'm like halfway through chapter 3, so not very far in at all.
Okay.
Um, I'm very curious on how I'm going to end up feeling. My like very early impressions are like this feels like an angsty YA novel that's then going to hit me over the head with like explicitly sexual content. And that is a little uncomfortable to think about, even though
Yeah.
everybody's like old. Like they specifically, like in the first couple pages, are like, when you turn 20 years old, this is what happens. So it's not even like everyone's old enough, but there's just like,
Okay.
I'm getting this like
Like the
angsty,
tone.
like, yeah, just
Huh.
little bit of almost YA ish kind of vibe from it this
Okay.
early on. I will say, very like I said, very very early on. But some of like the world building stuff is at least interesting. Like
That's cool. At least there's
the
dragons. That's
yeah,
all.
there's dragons and there's griffins and like they go to war. Like apparently the issue that's going on is they're going to war with like another country that has griffin riders or something. It's
Oh,
like
cool.
dragons versus griffins. That's cool.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
cool. I mean, she's doing something right, right? She's breaking
Yeah.
records with sales and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. And then what else? I mean, yeah, it's just like I don't know. I'm at least interested enough in like how this world is being built out. It definitely, and I think maybe part of the reason it feels a little YA is like they're going to like a military school, right? And so like a
mm,
lot of like schooling stuff just ends up kind of fitting into that YA-ish kind
sure.
of genre. And so I think that is maybe what's giving me that vibe this early on.
That makes sense. That
But
makes sense.
yeah,
You am I you read Akatar, right? Am
no,
I
I did read.
you read Akatar.
I
Maybe
read what was it
you read
called? The
one of these.
Phoenix Keeper.
Okay.
That was it was supposed to be a romantasy book, and while technically there was a romance in it and it was a fantasy book, it was much more like a cozy, like
Okay.
kind of story. So like the fact that it was marketed as romantasy, I'm not saying it's not, but like when I think of romantasy, I do think about like the smutty stuff,
Mhm.
just because that seems to be like the most popular. And the
Sure.
Phoenix Keeper was not that at all. Like I said, super cozy,
How
like
disappointing.
kind of heartwarming,
Yeah,
and like so like it was a fine read. Like it was okay, but
sure.
I don't think it gave me like a good representation of like what people are like going to some of this stuff for.
Yeah.
And even 3 chapters into Fourth Wing, there's already been like some like very over the top uh like flirting, like oh they're ready to like get it on already. We're like 3 chapters in, like I mean
Hey.
okay I guess.
Yeah, cool. I'm curious. Some of these I'm curious just to see, like, they're so hyped up. I just wanna kinda see,
Yeah,
what's up. I'm gonna interrupt us really quick. Thank you so much, Safina. I appreciate you so much. I have not read any Good Kind. Have you read any of that, Tom?
no I have not, and I always mix. There's him and Terry Brooks, right?
Yeah.
And one of them talked a bunch of shit about Robert Jordan. I can never remember which one it is. And so
I
I
can't either.
planned on never reading the one who did. And so
Mm.
I don't remember which one. I
Yes.
feel like it's Terry Brooks who
I
did
don't
it.
remember because one of them did the Shannara books, right? And I can never remember
Yes.
who did
I
that and who
think
did the other one.
yeah, I can't either. But one of them like made fun of Robert Jordan while he was like dying of a kidney failure or something. And I was like,
No,
well,
that's kind of
I don't need to
kind of
read
not
your
cool.
books.
Yeah, let's just be nice.
Terry Bradshaw, Brian, get out of here. It's a Steeler legend.
I was just a football. See, I don't know real sport. I know NBA. I don't know football very well.
Yeah, Terry. So I'm a Steelers fan. Terry
Okay.
Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls for the Steelers in the 70s.
Okay, I
Yeah,
see. I
yeah.
see. So were you all in on the Super Bowl over the weekend?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a football junkie.
Okay,
I watch way too much. The stereotypical yelling at the TV.
nice.
Like, yeah, I get way too into it, and especially for the Steelers. Like, I'm from Pittsburgh originally, so like
Oh,
I'm
cool.
like born and raised. Like the Steelers are one of the few teams that still have like a training camp at like some random place, and
Mm,
the city they have it from is they go to St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and that's where I'm from. My parents got married in the church that's there at St. Vincent.
oh, wow.
My grandma's buried there. My aunt went to college there. So like the Steelers are as like in my blood as you can
Yeah,
imagine.
that's
So
pretty cool. I don't have any kind of like sports team that like means that much to me.
uh-huh.
Like I grew up in Illinois. Like I was like, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours away from Chicago. So everyone's like, "Oh, you're a Bulls fan, right? Or you're a Bears fan, or whatever." And I'm just like, not really. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe if I was a little bit older, maybe I'd be a big Bulls guy if I'd grown up with Michael and
Yeah.
Scotty and all those guys. But
Yeah, I got lucky because like the Steelers won a Super Bowl in '08 and 2010. So it's like I was old enough to like be invested, but still
mhm.
young enough to like really, really care about sports. So I
Yeah,
think that's part of it, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I could be a Vikings fan, man. Maybe I'll do that. I'll jump in.
You don't want to be a
Who
Vikings fan.
who's who just won? I'm an Eagles fan.
There
They
you
just
go.
won, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, if you just want to be
I've
sad all the
always,
time.
always, always been an Eagles fan.
Yeah, that one hurt a little bit. Wrong side of the state winning the Super Bowl.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bad at geography. I was like, "What are you talking about?" I had to
Yeah.
put that together.
Yeah. That's the east side of Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Ah,
Or
yes.
Pennsylvania, not Pittsburgh. But
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so funny. It's like the whole world is locked in on the Super Bowl, right? And I saw
Yeah.
a couple clips and I was like, "Oh, this is like I just don't know the game very well."
Uh-huh.
So to me, I'm still locked in like Luka went to the Lakers, like that's still my thing.
Okay, yeah.
I'm still
I
not
mean,
over that, but
that was a pretty like I'm a sports person in general. Football is my number one, but
okay.
like they just gave away Luca for like pennies on the dollar.
That's
Like,
weird.
yeah, that's crazy.
Who knows? Who knows? But
I guess yeah, I could blow up in the Lakers face, but you would think the guy who they went to the finals last year with him?
Luka, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
News on the Mavs, yeah.
that's the guy you get rid of?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Kind of weird, but we shall see. And then AD gets hurt halfway through his first game with Dallas. Like, yeah, that sucks.
A nice soft tissue injury he can just kind of limp around on, and yeah,
Yeah, not a
some
not a good not a good
no,
scenario.
no, it is not, and it's almost, and that's one thing I have with the NBA. It's like I feel like because, and this might sound weird, but like players should have plenty of power, right? Like they shouldn't just be
Sure.
like cattle or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's gone so far in the NBA where it's like there's not like that balance like there should be. I feel like
Yeah.
they can just kind of, and some of that probably has to do with like the fully guaranteed contracts, right? So
Yeah.
they sign that super max and it's like, well, they're
Uh-huh.
getting $500 million, whatever it is, no
Yeah.
matter what. So
Exactly. Yeah, and they just have their agent call these other teams and be like, "Hey, he's not going to play for you, so don't bother trading for him."
yeah,
Like
yeah,
they
exactly.
really I'm a huge like player empowerment, whatever they call it,
Yeah,
but it's gone too far straight up. Like
yeah,
it's too much.
yeah.
So, AKA Jimmy Butler.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
little crazy, which I'm like I basically live in Miami, so
Okay,
like I would I don't know. I've never been the biggest Jimmy fan, but like I like him, right? He's
sure.
cool.
He
But
was
then like
fun. Yeah,
this is just not the way to handle your business, I feel like. I don't know,
yeah.
but whatever. Anyway. Um another example of me being behind on videos, but I'm still interested enough to bring it up. I saw you did a video like from your motorcycle recently.
Yes, yeah.
So this is cool.
Yeah, so my most recent weekly update, so the weather was really nice here for a day where it's actually gonna be like back like it was super cold today. Like I see my breath cold, but 2 days ago it was like 75 degrees. So I was like, when it's nice out, I like to go ride on the weekends. And
Mhm.
so I was like, well, I need to do this. Why don't I just do them both together at like the same time? So I rode out to a place that I really like. And I've actually filmed a video there before. And so I, went out there and just recorded my weekly update instead
Awesome.
of doing it, back there.
That's cool. I'm
Yeah.
excited to watch it. Was it annoying to deal with like audio and stuff like that, or did you just kind of
So I
go
was a
for it?
little worried because it was way windier when
Mhm.
I got there than when I left my house. And so like I put the windsock on and everything, and my back was to the wind, which probably helped some. But the microphone that I have, it's just like it's a wireless one, so that makes it pretty easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so that wasn't too bad. Getting everything set up took a little bit of time and everything, but and then it got really hot, so I definitely started like sweat part of the way through because I'm just like standing in the sun in
Yeah.
jeans and like boots and stuff because I was
Yeah.
riding, and so. But honestly, I think it came out better than I anticipated. The audio was seemed pretty good for the
Awesome.
most part. I'm sure there were a couple moments where it would have been better if I was like obviously in here, but I was outside, so I feel like you kind of gotta give and take that a little
Yeah,
bit.
for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Well,
and
that's cool.
yeah, it was fun, and I'll probably end up doing that more because like I said, I ride a lot when it's nice,
Yeah.
and so if I'm going to be gone, but I can take advantage of being gone, that works out. And I
Yeah.
normally ride to places that are like appeasing to look at, um, and so like pretty good like backgrounds for videos and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's not too hard to find where you're at. Where
No,
I'm at, it's pretty difficult. People think it's all the beach or whatever, but like it's not, bro.
so I went to. You said you're near Miami. I
Yeah.
was there 2 or 3 years ago, and we drove out into like the Everglades and stuff. And it's like, I
Mm.
guess if you wanted to go all the way out into the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere and look at swampy water,
Yeah.
deal with some alligators, maybe.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we got the swamp and then there's just flat concrete
Yeah, oh yeah,
with like there's just no like there's not much like nice like there's nature, but it's not like nice.
it's a different kind of yeah. Because I
Different.
I lived in Tampa for 4 years, five
Oh, okay,
years
cool.
when I was young.
Yeah.
I was from like 6 to 10ish, I think. I lived in Tampa, and so like
Nice.
I kind of remember what
Yeah.
it's like. And you have all those like nasty retention ponds that are just
Yeah.
like
They're pretty gross.
full of whatever. Yeah, they got all the algae, and then
Uh-huh.
there's like an alligator somewhere and some water moccasins, and you're just like, I don't know if I want to be outside.
Yeah,
And far
exactly.
enough, you get the pythons now too.
Yeah, I don't do
uh,
snakes,
I
man.
do
I
I
do
don't
not do
I
snakes.
do not do snakes. I'm big no on snakes for me. Like
Yeah, not that's another big reason why I'm just I don't need to see the Everglades. It's fine. Like I'll just
I went on a boat tour, like one of the airboat tours, and like halfway through our airboat broke down in the middle of the Everglades and like one of the national park things. And so we're just sitting out there waiting for another one to come like pick us up. And I'm
Mhm.
just sitting out there like I would get stuck in a place where like something might try to eat me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that'd be my luck as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, not trying to I'm not a water person in general. Like I don't like the ocean. I'm not a
I don't
beach
either.
guy.
Nope.
It's just not
No, I
yeah.
don't like the beach. I don't really get in the ocean anymore. I used to do a lot of like ocean fishing in North Carolina.
Is how are
And
you the manliest person I've ever met?
I don't know about that, but so I used to go like fish like off piers and stuff or in the surf, and like I can remember kayaking bait out like hundreds of yards, just like a bloody fish head attached to the back of a
Oh,
kayak
jeez.
and stuff. And like some of the stuff I have seen and caught, I'm like, and like on a pier too, so like 50 feet from people, I'm like, there's
Mhm.
no way I'm ever getting back in the ocean. Like, you're crazy, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm with you. I have a friend who surfs quite a bit,
oh, there's no
and,
way.
I mean, he flies out to Hawaii and surfs out there sometimes, like,
That's
he
awesome.
loves it, and I'm like he's only seen a shark, like, relatively close to him once, I think.
Hmm.
So, like, he's had really good luck and never had any issues or whatever, and I'm just like, "I don't know how you do this, man."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, there's no way because I'm telling you, like, I'd catch like a 6-foot shark, pull it up onto the beach, and I caught it 40 feet away from where someone was swimming. Like,
Oh
you
man.
know, it's, and I mean, it's because, they're not like actually normally going to attack a person and stuff.
Sure.
But that doesn't make me feel any better,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, right.
you
It's
know,
and it's like it's not their fault, right? Like we're invading their space, so like
exactly.
they're fine, but it doesn't make it less scary, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so what else do you do in your free time? Like bare knuckle fighting? You wrestle bears? Uh,
Uh, so I mean, most of my free time is spent at the gym. I spend way too much time at the gym.
I feel
Like,
you. Yeah,
and some of that is just because the strongman stuff takes a
takes.
longer time. Uh, like today, I actually had to do. I worked late and still, I've had a heck of a day. So I worked late. I went to go get in my truck. Battery's dead in the truck. Have to get somebody to come jump me. Go get a new battery. And so I was like, okay, I've got to like really be fast in the gym today. Uh, but even when I'm fast, I was still there for like an hour, and only did 2 things.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
I
did
was like
2
an hour's
things.
pretty good.
No,
Wow.
no, I did if for people who know, I did a yoke and I did a
Mhm.
circus dumbbell. Those were the 2
Okay,
things I did
cool.
today. Yeah,
That's
and in
strong,
an
man.
hour. So,
This is
um, yeah.
this is why I switched to bodybuilding. That's how
Dude,
this
there's no way.
the time efficiency, man.
I've tried to like I think I might have even told you this, like the closest I ever got to like looking like a bodybuilder, I looked like I was like 8 or 10 weeks out from a show still. Like
That's still pretty good though.
that was me bodybuilding, you
Yeah,
know? Um,
this is true. Are you a metal guy? Do you know this reference?
yes, I do. I know
Okay,
exactly who he
cool.
is. Yeah, he did just have a bare knuckle fight.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's crazy, yeah. Yeah.
We are
What's
graced
up,
with the
Jimmy?
presence. What's up, man? Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, dude, this is like when I was powerlifting, because some of it's just social too, right? You're hanging out. You got to
Oh,
rest a
yeah.
while between sets anyway, right? So
Yep,
you're hanging out. I remember being there like 2-3 hours, 5 times a week. Just
yep,
hanging with the boys. Everyone's lifting together, and now like
exactly.
I'm so busy. Like I gotta be done in like hour 15. I just
Okay,
gotta be
yep.
done.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
but
still lucky that, like, my girlfriend doesn't kill me too much if I, like, spend 2.5 hours at the gym still.
cool.
One of my buddies, he just had a baby, and so, like, w if I'm bad, he's even worse about, like, talking to everybody and just being there. Because I go to a pretty small gym. There's, like, probably between 80 and 100 members total, and
Oh
so it's
wow,
really, like,
those
the
are some of the
same.
best gyms, man.
Yeah, and so it's, like, the same, like, 10-ish people in there when I go. So, like, everybody knows everybody, everybody's, like, really friendly and stuff, and so but, like, he just had a baby, and he'll be doing something, he'll be like, "Oh, man, I've been here for, like, 3 hours, I gotta go."
Yeah, that's funny. Was a podcast between us. That's yeah, sounds accurate.
Hey, I mean, I do like a nice rest period.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah, these so I used to do that, and then my ideal is that I don't feel I hate feeling rushed. I hate it.
Yep.
But my ideal is like give me hour and a half, hour 45, something like that. It's like my
Yep.
ideal scenario because lucky me, I can my body can just take a beating and I still recover really well, and like I can handle a bunch of volume, so might as
Oh,
well
that's
if you're
nice,
trying to
yeah.
grow.
Yeah,
So
I could do a decent amount of volume before I started doing strongman, and that is one thing that I noticed that, like, the CNS, especially some of
oh
it depends on what I'm doing, but sometimes the CNS is like, "Oh, you think you can do yoke and then squat the next day? You're funny." Like, what
yeah.
and none of it's ever light, so it's like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that
yeah.
was which I had a similar like powerlifting, it was way less, right? But now it's like, a set of 12 on the hack squat only beats you up so much, right?
Right, yeah, 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 for
So
sure.
so it's cool. But now like there's so many days and I'm kind of spoiled a little bit. Like when I'm in the lab for data collection for my grad program, it's like I can take what would take me an hour and a half in the normal gym and I can do it in 45 minutes because I can use
Oh,
we have a tonal. We actually have two tonals, which are if people aren't familiar with a tonal, it's like a basically an adjustable cable machine that you can put on the wall and you can do all kinds of stuff with it, right? So I can do that. We got a bunch of machines and stuff, so I'm supersetting like 4 things, doing these
oh,
like
yep.
crazy.
The
So and
circuits, yeah.
I'm the only one in there. I don't have to deal with somebody else using machines.
That's
Like
nice.
it saves so much time, dude. But I miss having homies at the gym, right? And
Yep.
just that social aspect and just being around other people is nice.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah.
sometimes the
Especially, I mean, I work from home, so, like, if
oh,
I
yeah.
don't go to the gym, I, like, don't even look outside, like, my blinds
Mhm.
are
Yeah,
closed, so, like,
that's
I'll go,
mine
like, a
too.
whole day without, like, looking outside if I'm not
Mhm.
careful, which can be, definitely a negative thing because, that's probably bad for me, probably bad for my brain at some point to not look outside.
I can relate, I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the running joke with, like, my friend group is that I'm a vampire, uh, 'cause I'm pretty, surprisingly pale for being in Florida, right? Because I don't go outside,
Yeah.
and, I like dark, whatever, gothy things, and whatever,
Yeah.
but don't go outside, don't like the sun, I don't like the sun, it's not my like, I get that it's necessary, we need it to survive, cool, right?
Yeah.
But it's just not for me.
Ah, I feel you, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, my girlfriend could sit out by the pool all day, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "I'm gonna go sit in the shade
Yeah.
and just, like, chill out over here."
Yeah, she used to drag me out to, the beach every once in a while, and then eventually she was like, "It's too hot, dude, we can't do this," and I was
Dude,
like,
Florida's miserable.
"It's like 85 degrees already."
Oh, I'm sure.
Like,
Oh,
that's
dude,
the
I'm
norm
sure.
right now.
Because I was looking, so, obviously, the Keys have the southernmost part of the United States, right? And I
Mhm.
wanna ride my bike up to that
Hold
and,
on.
like, take a picture in front of it.
Peak compliment. Thank you, bro.
That is a good one.
RIP Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
But, I wanna ride all the way down there, and I'm just like, "Man, if I kinda already missed the window of it not being, like, 1,000 degrees."
Uh-huh.
Because I went to Daytona Bike Week is soon. It's at, like, the end of this month-ish, I
Oh,
think.
okay, cool.
Um, and I went 2 or 3 years ago to that, and even then, the whole time, I'm just, like, roasting.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I feel like I missed my window to ride all the
Yeah.
way down there because 'cause
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
kinda
gonna
like
melt.
December and January
Yep.
are, like that's when you wanna do outdoors things.
Yeah,
That's the only
exactly.
window we got.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough. That's like, I'm a huge Harry Potter guy, right? Like, I've never been to Universal, I wanna go so bad,
Oh, okay, yeah.
but I keep missing I've been here for 4 years now, and I keep missing the window.
Uh,
Every year I miss it,
yeah.
and, 'cause it's just either it's like things are too busy or I just, like, don't feel comfortable spending the money on that right now or whatever.
Yeah.
We gotta do it at some
Yeah.
point.
Because I never went. I don't know if I don't know if Harry Potter was actually open when I still lived in Florida because I
Mm,
never went to Disney. Lived in Tampa for 5 years, never went to Disney, but we went to Busch Gardens, like,
I don't know what
all
that
the
is.
time. Busch Gardens, it's just an amusement park.
Oh, okay.
It's really close to Tampa. There's 2 of them. There's one in Tampa and there's one in, like, Virginia or something.
Oh,
And, yeah, that was where we went instead of, like, going to Disney and stuff. So,
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. Tampa, I've had good experiences. I've only been in Tampa, I think, 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
I went to a Comic-Con there where I met Sanderson, that was cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Um, he personalized my copy of Way Kings, which was nice.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I got to shake his hand, the whole thing. I was like, "Ooh." But, so I went there for that, and I went there for one of my shows in November.
Okay,
That's the only
nice.
time I've been there. But I liked it in general, like, it felt a little bit more homey than where, like, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area does, at
Mhm.
least to me.
Okay.
And it's a little bit cheaper too, which is nice. It's so expensive over
Oh,
here.
dude, yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's miserable. Yeah,
Oh, well, I mean, it's expensive everywhere these days, but
that is true.
yeah. Jimmy's gonna be down here this summer. It's
Oh,
a
nice.
hell of a time to
You gotta go to you
ride a
gotta go to Busch
bicycle.
Gardens and,
There we go.
take Alan to Busch Gardens, Jimmy, and take him to where the alligators are and just talk about how nice the giant fence they put up is. I don't know if you saw that video, but that's an inside thing for Alan if you just talk about how nice the fence is.
Okay. I haven't seen this.
See, there
That's
you go.
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, what else? I wanna wrangle this back to books a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Remind me how far in Malazan you are. You read Midnight Tides, is that right? Or you're about to?
I What's the 4th one? House of Chains?
House of Chains.
House of Chains will be the book I start once I finish 4th Wing.
Okay, that's the next one.
That
Gotcha.
is the next one I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's, like, top of mind because I started this next Malazan book,
Right,
right?
yeah,
So now I'm, like, trying to remember and place all of my favorite booktubers, like, okay, where are they at? Because I wanna make sure that I can,
yeah.
like, catch them when they talk
Yeah,
about it.
I feel like I don't know if this is the typical Malazan experience because I see somebody like Brian is loving it. Like, he's talking
Yeah.
about, full, maybe new, less books, more biceps.
Fair. We'll circle back. We'll circle back. I've had enough biceps, bro. My dissertation study is a biceps training study, so I'm like, geez,
Oh yeah.
enough of this.
I do have a question. I do have a question about that, but we can get back to it.
Okay.
But like Brian is loving Malaz,
Mhm.
and he's talking about all time new favorite series possible, that kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, it's good, like I like it,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I'm not at like I feel like so many people just talk so highly of it. I'm just like, I'm just not there yet, and I'm
That's
curious
fair.
on if I will, because I don't know. It hasn't, and it might just be I'm still early in, and normally it can take me a few times to or a few books to get into like a series all the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so we'll see, what happens
Yeah.
and how
That's
I
cool.
feel about it. Yeah.
That's kinda how I was too. Partially because like, I didn't really get it like, the characters especially, I just didn't get for the
Yeah.
longest time.
Yeah. That's
I was
kind of
like
where I'm at.
yeah, like, they feel kinda wooden, and I'm like, I'm
But
not
there's
connecting with them
there like
really.
like don't get me wrong, there are characters I like, but
Yeah.
like they're
There's still
not
great
like
moments, but
but like when I think of like characters, I think and like I know some people are gonna roast me for saying Rand from Wheel of Time because so many people think he's the same character like the entire time, and it's just like that could not be further from the
yeah,
truth. But
I completely
like
disagree.
yeah. And so I just like was was in with him, and I'm just like I'm still kind of not there with any of the characters, and it probably doesn't help that you have that kind of character group in Gardens of the Moon, then you have like a slightly different one in Dead House Gates, and then
Sure.
you kind of go back in Memories of Ice, and
Mhm,
and then
mhm.
apparently this one kind of goes back to more of the Dead House Gates ish kind of group or something. I think.
Kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
that's I kinda think of it like book 3 is a direct sequel to book 1,
Hmm.
and then book 4 is like half prequel, half sequel to book 2,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
book 5 is its own separate thing.
Yes, that's
And then
that's
you
what I've heard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, I struggled with the characters for so long, and then in book 5, the characters finally clicked for me,
Okay.
and I loved book 5, and then book 6 is what made me go, "This is an all-time favorite."
Okay.
So, like and then in hindsight, the rest of it felt a lot better and whatnot, so
Yeah, it's definitely one of those series where I'm just like, man, I'm sure that if I ever were to, like, I don't really reread stuff, but I was like, man, I'm sure if I finished this and then reread it, I'd be like mind blown
yeah, dude.
just because like I'm sure I'm missing so much stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think because I did splurge on the broken binding once, right? So, I don't
Oh,
spend money on anything except for books, so and tattoos, I guess, but,
we all
it's
have
in
that one
good
thing.
place. Yeah,
Like I'm embarrassed sometimes to say what I have spent money on because it's like really dumb. And so I'm just like,
nothing dumb.
nobody needs to know.
I mean, that's fair. It's all the orange shirts, right? You have 300 different orange shirts.
365, one for every day,
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, so my plan is I think once it's probably gonna be another couple years, but by the time they send out the full set,
Yeah.
'cause they'll do like a few per year. But I think once I can time it out to read them when I get the full set, I want to read from those editions for my reread.
Yeah. That would be
I think that'll be
good.
I
Yeah.
I see no money from this, Jimmy. That's not how this works. They're getting money from me, right? They should be grateful and say thank you. No, I wish I got paid. That'd be sick. Um, what was your question? You said you had a question about
Oh, yeah. So are you doing like I don't want to call it a biopsy because that has like a connotation to cancer, but you're like measuring muscle growth and stuff. Are you doing like the like samples where you like take core samples of muscles and stuff? Or
I am not,
okay.
but we haven't had the ability to do that in our lab yet. Basically, we're actually trying to get it set up to where we can do that.
Okay.
But what I'm doing instead is ultrasound.
Okay.
So like for anyone who's listening who might be interested, probably not that many, is if you have an ultrasound machine, like you can look at all kinds of stuff with an ultrasound, right? Babies, injuries, whatever.
Yep.
But you can see the thickness of the muscle tissue. It just cuts. It's like a cross section, so you
Okay.
can see directly through it. So I can see like if your bicep is this thick now, and in 10 weeks it's this thick, I can measure that
Like
literally that
different.
distance and see how much it grew. It's
Okay.
not like there's a bunch of there's limitations with literally everything.
Of course. Yeah.
So pros and cons all over the place, but um, yeah. What am I trying to figure out? How I pack this much muscle? Yeah. Honestly, I mean, the sort of.
Have you gone and watched any of Jimmy's like wrestling videos?
No, I need to.
You
I need to.
should. You should. They're good.
Gotta check it
They're
out.
good to see. You can see Jimmy was pretty ripped.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know. I think he's been golfing too much now. So I don't know.
Ooh,
Might be getting that golfer bod.
went catabolic.
It's
Okay.
trend. Jimmy, I don't know if you saw me talking about what book series would be trend in your live the other day, but that's what the chat devolved. Oh, that was in Joanna's live. Sorry, you were just on it, and yeah.
Oh, see, yeah. This is what
Oh,
happens when you're me and you're sleep deprived and you show up to this rushing from the lab and you just walk in the door, put my stuff down, eat an apple, and turn on the computer. I did start growing a mustache because I'm lazy and haven't shaved in 3 or 4 days.
that's how it starts, and
This
then
is
next thing you know, you just have it, and your girlfriend's
yeah.
like, "No, I like it," and you're like, "Well, I guess I have a mustache now."
My girlfriend doesn't like me she wants me clean shaved all the time.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But this is as good as it will ever look. Like I just can't grow a beard for whatever reason.
Oh, don't let the mustache fool you. That's all that's happening. The rest is not. It's not coming. It's not. I promise.
That's how it goes. And I remember talking to my dad about this. I was like, I can't remember how old I was, like early 20s or something. And I was just like, when am I going to be able to do this? And he was just like, oh, because he's got full beard, right? It looks
Oh,
great.
does he? Okay.
It's like thick, it looks great. And he was like, oh, I think I was like 26, 27 when mine finally came in. You'll be fine. I'm like, bro, I'm 31 now. Like it's not, this
It's
isn't
just
going to
not
happen.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. I'm just resigned to that fate.
Yeah. My dad, he can do a goatee, but that's about it.
Okay.
The cheeks, just I think we're just cursed. It's never happening.
Cursed with the cheeks. I mean, there's worse problems, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm like, well, at least I don't have like I would hate. I used to be like, yeah, I want to like have to shave every day. And now, like being older, I'm like, thank God I can go like a week without shaving and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Because like
100%.
it's I'm just like, oh God.
I think we've all had that friend. I had one of my best friends growing up. He's been, dude, I think he started shaving when we were in like 4th grade or
Oh my
something.
God. Yeah, there's always that one guy,
Like,
right? There's always that one.
yeah, it was, this is, you got the joke. Okay. I was going for, there we
So
go.
I actually have a funny story. I bought some overalls online to ride in so that I could wear shorts and then like still have like leg protection when I was riding.
Sure.
And I bought 2 sizes bigger than what my jean size is, and they still didn't fit on my legs.
That's a flex.
It is a
For you.
flex.
Good for
Just
you.
wanted to let Jimmy know.
We got a petition started for a wrestling match between you two.
Oh, a wrestling match?
I
Are you
guess.
trying to get me killed? He's a professional.
Maybe. But we all know that professional wrestling's fake. So like,
I don't know. I think Jimmy would just like steel chair me. It's still going to be a steel chair, right?
I mean, it might be. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe everything's rubber.
Yeah, I think like they pull all the punches. No one's actually hitting anybody. It's all,
Yeah. That wasn't even real beer Stone Cold was drinking. That's just water, you know?
Purple belt. See, like,
Oh yeah, I wasn't even going to talk about the real jujitsu that
what's
Jimmy could like actually murder me in my like before I could even figure anything out.
I I think jujitsu would be so fun. I would love to do it. I'm just like, if I'm being honest, I'm scared to get hurt. Like that's what holds me back. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like you're rolling the dice.
Yeah,
But,
probably. Yeah.
no.
That's how he
What is Jimmy not? Okay, between the two of you, can we save some man points for me, please?
You're a bodybuilder. I mean, come on. You've
Is that
competed.
manly? The least manly sport. It's not even a sport, it's a beauty pageant.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it's a good one. I still pay attention to it, even though I don't really do it that much anymore. I still definitely pay attention to
It's fun.
I don't know, Nick Strength and Power. I don't know if you watch his videos.
You probably pay attention more than I do at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
I
How about
enjoy
Jake
it. It's
and
fun.
Tom?
But tag team, okay.
Okay.
Could be fun. You
Yeah,
don't want
but
me on your team. I'd be so bad.
yeah, 2-on-1s, especially with your hands tied behind your back.
Okay, that seems.
Yeah, that sounds like a good trade.
We're getting into some weird territory with that. I don't know. Anyway. What even what I was gonna say? I was gonna say something that I'm sure was terribly important, but now I can't remember. I'm so distracted thinking about this. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I can blame you. That's true. Like Daredevil, I'm losing the plot. I don't know.
Like Daredevil. Yeah, I'm losing the plot on that one.
Okay.
Tom, the Clark Kent of BookTube. Thanks. He's my favorite superhero, so I'll take it.
Okay, there's a segue for us. Okay. Uh, how's that a segue? I don't follow superheroes much. What are you what's the new Marvel thing? Fantastic Four? What do you think of the trailer? That's like the new thing, right?
I haven't actually watched the trailer. I jumped off the Marvel bandwagon when Endgame happened because I was like, it's not getting better than this. And so far, I've been right. It seems like there's maybe one or two things that are like have been pretty worth watching. And since then, like I kind of feel validated of being like Endgame's the end game.
Yeah.
I will say like I do like the Fantastic Four if they can bring in the X-Men like in a good way.
Mm,
Like those are two things that I would care enough about to be like somewhat interested in watching it again.
sure, sure.
But like I feel like I've saved a lot of time and energy not caring about Ant-Man and the Wasp #4
Yeah.
and like some of those things.
Yeah, I remember when Endgame was gonna come out, I went through and rewatched every Marvel movie leading up to it because I was like,
Okay.
this is a big deal. I want to be in the community. I want to get it right. And I watched all of them, and I just never saw Endgame. I still haven't seen it. I just completely fell off somehow.
Yeah, that's okay. I think so. Endgame is really good. Um, Infinity War is still my favorite of all of those movies.
Yeah,
Which
Infinity.
is
Yeah, I
Infinity.
saw
Yeah,
Infinity War.
yeah. That's the one right before Endgame. So
Yeah,
that is actually my favorite because spoiler for Marvel from like 10 years ago at this point. But like when he actually like gets the snap off and it happens,
yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, they actually did it. I didn't think they were gonna be brave enough to like let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
it showed like, oh, okay, they have really thought about this and like have been planning up to this moment and that realized like the impact that this is going to have. And
Yeah,
so like when it actually happened, I was super happy,
yeah.
which is
That's
a little morbid that like, half the universe died, but like I was about it. So
I like that in books and anime, manga, whatever. Like, give me big stakes all day. It makes everything
exactly.
feel like it matters so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Who's
means
your
also sometimes that like bad stuff has to happen for those stakes to like be there, like
Yeah, it's gotta matter.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what was your favorite Infinity War death? Mine super quickly was T'Challa because I'm a weirdly huge Black Panther fan. Like the first Black Panther is probably my favorite Marvel movie. I don't know why I like
Okay.
it so
Okay.
much, but Wakanda Forever.
My favorite Infinity War death. I mean, I don't feel well, Mr. Stark.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also I really liked him as Spider-Man, so like that definitely.
He was a great Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was. So
He is really great.
yeah.
Um, White Whale and reading what you need to read.
Uh I think for me it's gonna be Lonesome Dove.
Okay. I
Yep.
oddly don't have interest in that. I don't know why.
That
I'm
one's
still averse to westerns.
that one has been on my list since like before I even knew what BookTube was.
Oh wow, look at
And
you.
it's just
Okay.
one of those ones where it's like I keep pushing it off and keep pushing it off and I'm just like one day
Yeah.
gonna read it and probably love it because it sounds like I'm going to just from everything that everyone said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's probably the one that like I really do need to get to, but who
Yeah.
knows when that will happen.
Mine's uh, mine's probably Robin Hobb. I haven't read any Robin Hobb, but I
I haven't
know it's
either
gonna.
actually.
Oh, okay. So
There's a couple big like fantasy like staples that I'm like, oh, I haven't gotten there yet
uh,
actually.
yeah, it's dude. There's not enough time to do everything.
Yeah.
I've only read the first trilogy and First Law. Like, there's just a lot of like big heavy hitters.
Uh-oh.
Still.
Vera is still here. I don't know if I should say I haven't read First Law out loud yet.
You haven't read any of it?
Nope, none of it.
Ooh,
I
wow.
know. Not even a little.
Skip Farseer. I've never seen that before.
Oh, I have. There are people who are like just go straight to Ships of Magic or whatever and Fly
Is that
Ships, whatever it is.
is that because Live Ship is universally regarded as incredible, and they
I
just don't
think
want you to
so.
fall off if you don't love Farseer?
I think the main character in Farseer is very like a lot of people don't like that character. Maybe
Mm,
that's what I've heard,
okay.
and he's not in the
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the other one, the Ship of Magic trilogy or whatever they call it, and
yeah,
but like apparently that one is like beloved upon
yeah.
amongst people. Like even people who aren't necessarily the biggest fans of like the whole series. I
Mhm.
think even the detractors are like, well, those three books are pretty great.
Yeah, I remember, Mike's book reviews had, like, some pretty big criticisms of the series as a whole, but he's still like, "It's one of the best trilogies ever."
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah. Also, I should read Sun Eater. That's
yes,
another one.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, let's talk about Sun Eater for a second. What can I do to get you to read Empire of Silence sooner? Because
Sooner? Oh man, I don't know. Make me read faster.
okay. Fair.
Yeah, I've said this before, but like I have owned Empire of Silence since like book 3 came out. So like I
Okay,
could
yeah.
have been such an early adopter before this wave of like popular. I could have been like in,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and I have not read a single word of it. And I
Man.
think that's one of those series where like if you had to ask me like what's going to be a new like all-time favorite series that you haven't read yet, that would be my number one choice, and it wouldn't even be
Yeah.
like I don't think anything else is going to like be close to that as far as like something I haven't started yet.
Yeah. I think that's a very reasonable assumption.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do Disquiet Gods towards the end of this month, I think is the plan.
Okay. Nice.
Me and Chance are gonna kind of read that one together and see if we can sweet talk Christopher into doing a
Ooh,
full series
nice.
spoiler discussion with us at the
Nice.
end. So
Yeah.
look who else dropped in. Janny, hello. Speaking
Oh,
of
hey.
very likely all-time favorite series, um, I finished Curse of the It's probably been, how long has it been since I finished Curse of the Mistwraith? Couple weeks, 3, I don't even remember. I finished it in January.
Okay.
Like I still haven't stopped thinking about it. Like it is just stuck in my brain. Like we all like there's books that like you read and it's fun, but then it just kind of fizzles away or whatever. Like not in a bad way at all. It just
Mhm.
is what it is.
Yeah.
But like, man, I don't know. This is
Oh yeah. I
special.
I think having read only 3 whole books and only being a little bit of the way into Fugitive Prince, like it would probably already be it'd be close to it'd probably be in my top 10 with not even having read that much of the series yet.
Crazy.
Like
Not even
it's
halfway done. Yeah.
yeah, not even like halfway there. And yeah, and I liked Curse of the Mistwraith, but I think the next two were like for me personally were like big steps up, which is crazy
Wow.
because I think Curse of the Mistwraith is like a really good book.
That's awesome.
And
So excited.
like each book has gotten better and better for me. And so, and I don't know if part of that's just like being more familiar with the characters, learning more about them. And, like those emotional stakes rise and rise and rise as you spend more and more time with the characters.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's what it is, or if it's like specifically the stuff that is going on in the books, or just like a combination of everything. Probably is the real answer.
Yeah.
But like as more and more stuff is progressing, I'm just more and more invested. And so like at this point, I can't see it not just being like home run, which is annoying that I'm so slow at reading it because I just am.
I'm trying to take my time with it. Like it's funny, like I finished book 1 and I was like, I want to open book 2 right now. But just like Malazan, like I want to let it, and Sun Eater, same way. I want to let it have time to sit there and marinate and like really just spend some time in my brain. And I'm really glad that I'm giving it space because it's like I find myself just sitting there thinking about it, and I think that that'll pay off in the long run. So
Yep. Oh, it will
it's
for sure. There's a moment specifically in the third book that like I'll just randomly like start thinking about it, and I'm just like chills. It's just like
that's
the
awesome.
super. I don't want to even say anything. It's just a super amazing scene. I won't say if it's good,
Okay,
bad, like what it is, but there's just like this one scene in particular that I think about, and I'm just like, man, this is like amazing.
that's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would make sense. That's kind of how it goes. I would. It's actually, really, yes, 100%. The Disquiet Gods hype is real. Chris has shown up. Thank you, sir. How are
Hey,
you?
Chris.
So I was sitting here thinking about. I'm starting to be like, I've been doing this YouTube thing for almost 6 months now, and I'm like, at some point I need to do a top 10 series video,
I
right?
still haven't.
I still haven't, and I'm like,
It's been almost 2 years, and I still Still haven't done it yet.
I've very intentionally not done it because I don't want it to feel like it's like I'm just trying to do all the popular content or whatever.
I felt the same way.
Yeah. So I've been intentional, but at the same time, I hear other people and they're like, it's kind of like a timestamp of where you are in your life. And then you can, when you do another version of that in a year or two, you can see the differences. And I'm like, that's cool. I like that. And then I'm not going to lie, also like seeing, I don't know if you've followed Preacher at all, pretty
Yeah.
new channel, but
Yep.
like his blew up and I was like, geez, that's
That
amazing.
would be
Right.
nice, right? Yeah.
So I've been thinking about it and I'm sitting here and I've just been starting to let things kind of come to mind. Like what would I put in the list and whatever. And I've read one book in this series, Where's
And
Light and
you're
Shadow.
like
I'm like,
already.
it's got to be in there. Like I can't think of 10 other ones that, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
but it feels kind of not right to do that. Like it almost feels like it's a pick
Sure,
based
list. Do
on
whatever you want.
thinking ahead. That's
You
true.
know, that's like I always think it's funny when people are like, "Here are my top 10 of the book, top 10 books of the year," except it's not because of repeat authors. And I'm always like,
Yeah.
"Who cares? Just what are your actual top 10?" Because
Yeah.
I don't have any of those. I don't have any of those rules or anything like that. So like when I did my year of of Sanderson, and like 8 of my top 10 were Sanderson books or
Yeah.
something like that. I was just like, well, here's basically my Sanderson rankings
Yeah.
or something like that. And also with what you were talking about, like a snapshot, I think one reason I haven't thought about or like really done one of those videos is I have my spreadsheet that has my rankings for every year
Oh
of
yeah. Yeah.
books. And so I'm just like, I got it already. I don't need to like, I've got it, which is kind of
Yeah. That's
funny.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. It's that's how I was my like 2024. I think 3 of them were Sun Eater books. My favorite.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, 100%. Uh, I like this a lot. I resonate with this quite a bit. Everything is just this is part of what I like Philip's videos so much of like top 10 made me cry, top 10 action, top 10. Like I thought that was a great way to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for my spreadsheet, I have each year and I kind of try to rank everything. And then I have like one for everything. And as I read more and more, the harder it is. And I'm always like, oh, this could go here. I'm changing my mind constantly on stuff. And
Mhm.
it is funny, like as I read more, I'm like, I care less about the rankings. There's
Yeah.
still a piece of me who's like, no, I'm going to be like a stickler and like do it. And then part of me is like, I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't rank stuff basically for that reason. I don't it's just so hard. Like you might like certain things a ton, but certain like we just me and the guys finished reading Aleuthian. We're gonna do a discussion, Chance, Chris, and Alex and me. And like there was stuff about that book that was like 10 out of 10 amazing,
Mhm.
and then stuff that just really didn't work for me very much at all. But it's like, well, how do I rank that out of
Yeah.
5 or 10? Like it's just I
Yep.
don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's tough. JT writes Infinite World. I haven't heard of this before. Give me a quick pitch. Give me a quick pitch. It could be fun. But a top 3 character of all time is pretty high praise.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. You said you don't really reread much, right?
The
Um,
only book I reread is A Christmas Carol. Every
that's
year,
right.
Christmas
That's
Eve,
right.
I reread A Christmas Carol. Other than that, I have pretty firmly been on the not rereading train.
Mhm.
And most of that is because I didn't really get back into reading until after college. So like 2019 was like I had like this firm, like, okay, this is when I started reading again. And there still is so much that I want to read
Yeah.
that I'm like, I don't really want to reread anything. But I have slowly started to fill that pool as books that I read in like 2019, 2020, as they've gotten further and further away. I'm like, ooh, I kind of would like to reread that. And like some of the like specific ones are like Dune. I think I'd really like to reread. A Song of Ice and Fire is funny because I read the first couple of books while I was in high school and then finished the series when I was done with college.
Oh
So
wow.
like I think I finished Feast of Crows and A Dance with Dragons after college, but read the first 3 before.
Huh.
So like I have this really big weird time gap
Yeah.
where like I don't know, it might be nice to kind of go back and reread them all
Yeah.
up through like kind of together.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I haven't. When I was younger, I got in a cycle of just rereading Harry Potter over and over and over,
Yeah.
which was fun. But I'm actually starting to feel it's been probably 10 years since I read it, so I'm feeling the itch again.
I've thought about it. My girlfriend reread it. Was it last year or 2 years ago? She reread it and like as an adult for the first time. And with her doing that, it kind of made me want to just like re-experience it, like see how much of that magic is still there. Cause she really
Yeah.
enjoyed it on a reread still. She
Yeah.
still like really loved them, thought they still really held up and everything. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it's that I remember I'd gone back, this has probably been 10 or 15 years now, but like I had reread some stuff as a adult, quote unquote,
Sure.
when you think you're an adult.
Yeah, right.
And stuff that I had read back in whatever, fourth grade, fifth grade. Like I read His Dark Materials in fifth grade, which is probably not a great idea, but I reread it again and I was like, oh wow, I actually understand what happens this time. Or
Okay,
I
yeah.
did that with a couple of things, but I haven't reread a ton either, other than Harry Potter. And but I do have a list of a handful, like Song of Ice and Fire is on my list, Dune's on my list. I know eventually I'll do Sun Eater again.
Mhm.
I already mentioned Malazan. I definitely want to do Wheel of Time again someday.
Yep.
You
Yeah, it's
know,
hard for me to believe that in like in another 10 years from now, I'm not gonna want to reread something. And
mhm,
actually, the series that I feel the pull for the most is probably the Three Body Problem trilogy, because
I still need
that
to do
is
that. Yeah,
that is my that is my favorite trilogy. That's my favorite book series. It has my favorite book of all time in it. And I'm part of me is like, okay, I read that all the way back in 2019. I've read so much more since then.
yeah.
Am I still going to feel the same way? Which is part of why I haven't reread it,
That's
and part of
scary.
why I want to. Yeah, it's like, what if I go back through and I'm just like, yikes, what was I thinking?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a little scary, but,
yeah.
for me, one of the big things is, like, I wanna go back and see the things I missed the first time. But then that also means if it's a series that I feel like I missed some stuff, it's a really big series, which makes it really daunting to read. Like
Yes.
Malazan, Wheel of Time, Cosmere, like whatever. Like there's just it's hard to justify setting aside that much time
Hmm.
to go through such a big series. But some
Yep.
we'll make them happen. Maybe someday, eventually, we can buddy read Wheel of Time together. That could be fun.
Yeah. There we go.
Buddy
Yeah.
reread.
I would like to do. Do you watch the TV show?
So I watched the first season.
Hmm.
My girlfriend and I watched the first season together. She'd never heard of it before. I think she might have heard me talk about it maybe once or something, but she's not really a
Hmm.
reader. Um, but she enjoyed the first season, and I liked it more than most people, I think,
Hmm.
except for the ending. The ending was pretty
Yeah.
tough.
That was yeah.
Um, but other than that, I generally had a good time. And then we started season 2 when it came out, and then got about halfway through, and then just forgot about it.
Hmm.
So like, it
Yeah.
wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Like we'll watch season 3, just because I've got to at least see, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Um, and she like I got her to read. She reads, but let's see, I talked her at least into Mistborn, and she kind of wanted to do Era 1 anyway. And so
Nice.
she's almost done with Hero of Ages, but like she's probably never going to read Wheel of Time, and she knows that like that's my favorite fantasy series of all time.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so like she wanted to like try to experience it with me at least a little
Sure.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice though.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I've heard that it's generally gotten better. Like
Yeah.
most people still, they're not saying it's their favorite TV show ever or whatever, but like generally more positive as time has gone on is what it seems
Season 2, so I always say like season 1, especially towards the end, fails at being like even a good TV show, let alone an adaptation.
Sure.
And season 2, while I still don't think it's really a great adaptation, it's at least like an okay TV show.
Fair.
That's kind of normally what I end up saying with it.
Yeah.
So
That's reasonable. Yeah.
yeah.
Did you do Rings of Power?
The first season? How many seasons are there of
Okay.
that?
I
I
don't
did
know.
at least
2,
one, and then maybe I did do the second season. I I can't remember, but yeah, I gave it I mean, I watched it. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
It exists.
it exists. It's something that I did, and like I don't think I don't remember hating it, but because okay, so I'm not like the biggest Lord of the Rings person,
Yeah.
so
Same.
like it's a lot easier for me to kind of go into that and be more detached from it than a lot of other people. But
Mhm.
there was still plenty of moments where I was just like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Is it like even a good TV show? It definitely has like it looks nice because they spent
Oh, yeah.
$1 billion on like to make it look nice, but not necessarily like the story didn't like. I'm sure there's like I know some people who actually really like it.
Mhm.
I have some friends who like really like it, and for me it was just like fine. I guess I don't know, probably somewhere
Yeah.
like a 6.
Yeah, that
You know,
sounds reasonable to
you
me.
know.
I generally enjoyed it, and then where it where it lost me was, there's a transition in like I think it's the last episode where we're seeing the origin of a certain place.
Yes. Okay. I
That
did watch that. If that's what the last, yes.
we have the PowerPoint slide transition, as I like to refer to it, and that lost me pretty hard.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just an odd choice. Like we know what it is. You don't need to do that. But
Yeah. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about. It took me like I knew what scene you were talking about, but now I actually know exactly what moment you're talking about. So
yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. It's I feel like so many people are hating on these shows just to hate on them. It's
Oh, of course.
not
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I really don't engage in like the side of YouTube that's just like hate on legitimately
No, no
everything.
way. Yeah, I
And I
can't do
know
it.
like I know it's popular because I see the views and stuff on it, and like there's channels just kind of they have gone down that rabbit hole who are just
Mm,
dedicated to pointing out the flaws and the mistakes on like everything. Like even
yeah,
if you could give them like it on a gold platter and there's still something wrong with it. And so like I just choose to like not engage and that kind of stuff. And that doesn't mean that like people can't have negative opinions, because there's difference between like
yeah,
every now and again having a negative opinion and you're solely dedicated to like just tearing everything down.
100%.
And so like I
Yeah,
definitely try to avoid that kind of stuff,
yeah, I do
which can
too.
be hard to do.
It can't. Yeah, yeah. I just don't have the energy for it. I'm just
Me, nope,
like,
me
if I
either.
don't like it, I'm just not gonna watch it. So I
Yeah,
don't get it.
yeah, I don't have the time or the energy to be that person. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna. I'm sure in the future I will read a book that I talk somewhat negatively or talk about how I had a negative time with it, and that's just completely different to like constantly going down to that well of like
Yeah,
not liking and hating.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, because like just being negative outright isn't like I get venting or like whatever.
of
That's
course.
fine. But I don't know. It just feels like try to be somewhat constructive with it or something. It just kind of feels a little bit, at least to me personally, like I just don't want to. I don't want to feel like I had a part, especially you see people trashing like indie books and stuff sometimes, and I'm like, that's a bold move, dude. Like if you didn't like it, just don't talk about it. It's kind of, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you have to balance that with being honest.
Yep.
Like you want people to feel like you're honest and can put some stock in what you say.
Yeah, and maybe this,
Balance.
I don't want to keep you up too late, so maybe this can be our last thing with.
Sure.
I noticed this a lot with Wind and Truth, and I know both of us were
Yes.
much more positive than a lot. It seems like a lot of people. I'm sure if I went and talked to a random Sanderson fan out in the streets, it's probably not as visceral,
Yeah.
but like I have never had such the reaction I did as to my like more positive review
Hmm.
of Wind and Truth. And then I just feel like I've seen so many spaces on the internet where I think people just kind of got on they maybe they already didn't really like Sanderson. They were annoyed with how popular he was, how much hype he got, and
Hmm.
then they saw other people who were maybe not as positive. And I'm not saying you can't not like the book, but I just feel like there was this weird like tornado of like, and it just fed on everybody and everything. And I mean, I had people who didn't even read the books telling me how bad it was. And
Yeah.
in the same comment, they're telling me, well, I didn't even read it, but it's bad because of this one thing. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you should, I'm not saying you even have to read all of it to say it's not what you want, but
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I
yeah,
don't. It's what got me the most. I actually didn't really get negative comments on my videos talking about it somehow, which is cool.
yeah.
Um, but what got me the most was I have a friend who actually three, four different friends who I sort of influenced them into picking up the series in the last year or whatever, right? Which is really cool. And one of them in particular has been hearing all of the negative stuff, and he's like halfway through Oathbringer right now.
Hmm.
And he's just like, dude, like, is this a thing? Like, am I setting myself up for disappointment? And I was just like, just you're enjoying it so
Maybe,
far,
but
maybe, but like, keep rolling, form your own opinion. And like, if you go into it, I I could be wrong, but my perception is I think the majority of the complaints are with the prose, not really with the story. So like, if you
yeah,
go into it just knowing the prose isn't perfect, set your expectations reasonably with that, and just enjoy the story. Right? I think that's
yeah.
fine.
I think I, at one point I was like, almost gaslighting myself into being like, am I just wrong? Like, did I just like fundamentally like not enjoy the reading experience that I feel like I had just because I felt like I got really bombarded with a lot of like negativity. And I was like,
Yeah.
did I just like miss something? And I just what I did well, actually what I did was I watched Bookborn's video and she liked it probably even more than I did. And I
Yeah.
was like,
She
okay,
rated it really high.
I'm not crazy because I was just kind of
Yeah.
having that moment where I was just like, I don't know, maybe I just like really missed the mark. And I'm just like, I don't know. I think I like it. I mean, than some of the other ones. And I like I said, you cannot like a book. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying for me, I feel like people were really coming at me of like, and I was just like, I don't know, man. I liked it. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the most it's not even negative, but the most negative thing I got was like somebody mentioned that they were hesitant to believe, not just me in particular, but like people on BookTube in general, because they feel that some people might be being overly positive uh,
To like
in the
curry
hopes,
favor.
yeah, in the
Oh,
hopes that Sanderson will collab with them or something. And I was like, he doesn't, he'll never know I exist, right? Like it's not
yeah, I saw some of that too of like the only people who are giving this a positive view are people who just are like shilling for Sanders, all kinds of stuff like that. And I was like, if you really think that's true, like I don't know, I don't there's nothing for me to say to you at this point.
yeah. Yeah, I mean anybody who's popular is going to be getting.
No, that's true. And I think for a lot of people, there are a lot, there's always a lot of valid criticisms, but I think a lot of people had a lot of the same problems with Wind and Truth. And I
Mhm.
think that echo-ness of that same problem kind of grew and ballooned. And then I don't know, the hype had to have been part of it too. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially for like this community, this very specific fantasy reader community, like, has there been a bigger release in recent times than Wind
Yeah.
and Truth, you know?
I can remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Some of it too, I sometimes I worry, I'm like, was I so excited that I just refused to dislike it? That I'm
I
like
felt the same
blinded by
thing.
that? Like
Uh, yeah,
maybe,
it's
but I don't know.
I'm willing to say maybe because I mean, I was super excited. This was my most anticipated book of the year. Like,
Mhm.
I've I had just recently read all of Sanderson too, so like I'm as bought in as like I could be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's what I was saying. I had that same kind of like inner like talk with myself of like, and then what I did was I went back and like looked at some of the notes I made. Like when I finished the book, I made a bunch of notes and I recorded my video before I watched anybody else's, before I looked at any like written reviews, anything. So like all I had to do was go back to what I said before I was influenced by anything.
Yeah.
And I went through and I was like, I still agree with all of these points.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
for me, it's like, like, it worked out for me.
Yeah, I agree. I did the same. I was very intentional. I was like, I'm not even spoiler-free reviews. I'm not looking at anything,
Yep.
and I'm very glad. And I think maybe that's a good note to maybe wrap up on. Is like, I think that's important to try to. I don't get. I can understand watching if you have somebody who you really trust their opinion. This is the way. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you really trust their opinion and getting if they're giving you a pitch of like, hey, you might like this series if you like what like I think that's cool. But I would be very hesitant to go into, especially like a complex book or series, being influenced, positive or negative, right?
Yep.
Like it's just, I think the beauty of a lot of these things is to just see how you react to it. You know what I mean? Like just organically.
Yep.
Like that's so fun.
It
Um,
is.
and it's easy to lose that because it's so fun to watch videos of people talking about books.
It is. Yeah.
So it's tough, man. But I do think that it really helps the experience for sure.
I do too. Yeah, I definitely like some of my best reading experiences are I hear, and I try to do this myself of where instead of like overly explaining what a book is, I just give like a really simple, like I'm gonna do a video here soonish about We Used to Live Here, and that's like my most recent favorite book that I have read.
Hmm.
And the point of the video isn't going to like be a real review. It's going to be like me trying to convince somebody to read it because I think one, I think it's going to be very divisive. Like
Okay.
even right now on Goodreads, it's sitting at like a 3.5 or something like that, which means like it probably has a lot of 5 stars and a lot of like 1 and 2 stars,
Yeah.
which I think is great because to me that means we can talk about it because I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of reasons why and all of this stuff. But like I went into that book knowing that like it starts with a family. buys a house, and the people who used to live there knock on the door and ask if they can see the house. That's all I knew about it. And then I went in and read it, and
Yeah.
like that was my best reading experience I've had in so long.
I love that.
Yeah.
I relate to the if the book's good, going in blind is awesome. And funny that you say that about saying this for like when Malazan was like the quintessential example of this for me. That I remember. This was after I read Song of Ice and Fire, and I was Googling like books similar to whatever, and that's when I read The Wheel of Time. And then I had I can't remember where I was. I think it was some random Instagram. I found somebody who posted about a book or something completely unrelated. I think it was a tattoo artist or something like that. And I was just like, hey, dude, like, what's a similar whatever? And he said Malazan. And I was like, okay, like, how is it similar? And he was like, just trust me. It's epic. Trust me. And I was like, okay.
There you go.
And that was just the perfect way to, like, I went in just completely blank slate. I know it's going to be crazy. I'm going to probably just be dropped into whatever. I'm going to go with it, see what happens. And it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't even read the back of books most of the time now. I'm just like, I kind of get a rough premise.
Now, sometimes you can read the back of the book and it spoils like major plot points, and you're just like, I wouldn't have known that until like 60% into the way, like into this book. Why did you tell me on the back?
This reminds me, I talked to the Tutor Ramble guys, and I told them at the time I was reading Mistwraith, and they asked what I was reading, and I said that, and they were like, well, what's the series about? And I was just like I didn't know. I was like, oh, so it's the war between light and shadow, so I didn't really even know what to say, which to me was wonderful, because it's just, I'm just going in and seeing what's up. But it felt kind of awkward in the moment, because I was like, I don't know how to, I feel like I'm dropping the ball, but
yeah, it's a fine line, especially when you make videos about stuff, because it's like, I have to tell you enough about it, but like also because I want you to read it probably, but also like I don't want to give too much away or say too much or like influence you one way to think you're going to get one thing and it ends up being I don't know. It's all very subjective, and that's part of the fun.
It is. And before we go, I do want to say hi to Alex. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, Alex.
Thanks for tuning in. And yes, this is correct to know nothing about Malazan. Read Mistwraith, please. It's amazing.
It is.
Okay. Well, I am old man and do need to go to bed here soon. So I'll probably cut us off, unfortunately. I could talk to you for hours, dude. This was very fun. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Man, we were all over the place here, but it was fun.
We did. We were definitely. That's part of the fun, though.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. This has been one of the most interactive chats I've had in a minute. This is great. So I appreciate that. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're somehow following me but not Tom, make sure you go subscribe. I'll make sure his channel's tagged and stuff in here. You have anything you want to throw out there, plug, talk about, etc.?
I would just say, and this is what I say at the end of all of my videos now, is just remember to read what you want when you want. It's not that complicated.
I love it. Keep it simple, man. It's not a race.
Exactly.
It's not a competition.
What you want when you want.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. That's a good note to end on. All right, guys. Thank you for watching.